Hello and welcome to a SmurDP video, and this is a review or an overview of Kickstarter Boom Studios The Return special release. Now, I've almost been done over by in fact I have been done over by Kickstarter a couple times already. One of them I was really smart on. The first one I absolutely loved the first Kickstarter from Power Rangers because it gave us all the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers books. I really liked that. That was definitely something I was in for. Then they did the archive releases, and I felt like it was a bit of a cop-out compared to what they could be delivering. So I only bought a couple of little bits for that. And then I did this one, which I'll talk about more in a minute. And then I've done the Tinian... first 10 years, and that one I've been done over the most because they've already released those books in general. You know, in my mind, Kickstarter is meant to be something special, something different, you know, one of a kind, whereas Boom Studios seem to release it that way, get lots more money, and then release them in general. So a bit of a P-tag. Now, in terms of the return, I don't think I've been done over as badly as I have with that last one that I just mentioned. The last one's really irritated me probably the most, because I don't think they've released hardbacks of these already. Now, one thing I was expecting when this was announced, and bear in mind, I actually liked Amy, Joe, and Matt's what they did with the return story. I generally liked it. I thought it was meant to be an exclusive release through Kickstarter, and then all of a sudden general release happened in terms of the issues. I think a paperback's been released, but I don't think a hardback's been released. So from that perspective, I've been winning. And in all honesty, there was lots of different tiers, as there always are, and I went with the one that A, suited me, B, I could also afford, because these things, as I've just mentioned, they don't make them cheap. So I got day one, the pink bow and arrow enamel pin, which I will show these things a little bit closer in a minute. I got the Danielle D. Niculo Pink Ranger Art Print Small 11x17 stretch. That is actually behind here. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Pink Boom Direct Reserve exclusive hardcover. Then I got the Pink Ranger print set, and then I think the sticker set was like a bonus because they reached a certain amount of tiers or something. And then I got the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers The Return Boom Direct Reserve exclusive hardcover. Now, when I got this, I honestly thought that I was getting two books off The Return, because in my mind I thought, hey, I can just sell the second one off, and I clearly didn't realize that it was actually Power Rangers, that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Pink that they did back when Mighty Morphin Power Rangers started. So let's start having a closer look at this stuff. So there is the enamel pin, which although has the bow and arrow, it has a sort of pterodactyl view to it, which I like, which is pretty decent. I'm not really a big fan of these little small things, if I'm being honest with you, but these first two I think are very, very cool. I love the stickers. So you got a set of the Power Rangers. You can see in the, let me just change my hands. You got the pink helmet there, the bow, Power Rangers Return, Pink Ranger there, pterodactyl there, and then that, and the background as well is just very, very neat and very well done. Oh my goodness, I've just dropped that. That's always a good start, dropping something. I was trying to be so careful with these things because I generally do like them. And then we've got the prints. So this is from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 25, Shattered Grid. Oh, this is an odd one. I wasn't expecting this. This would have been around Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 117. Wasn't expecting this one. This one's a weird one in my mind because it's not directly around that Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger. It's actually Lost Galaxy and another. Then we've got obviously Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Zero, very iconic cover. I've got this cover, very beautiful, and these were beautifully done by Montez. Yeah, it is, yeah. And then we've got the one with the pterodactyl, sorry, with the dragon shield going on there, which once again I like. Very, very, very impressive, those ones. And then we've got Ranger Slayer So this would have been the Lord Draken miniseries. I don't know why it's called that. It should have been called Ranger Slayer series or something like that. And once again, this is where she sort of becomes the queen of that universe. And then we've got this one. So we've got, oh goodness, what was the Megazord called? It was called something like Graveyard Megazord, Ranger Slayer. And then we've got normal Pink Ranger there as well, which is awesome. And then a clear backing just to protect them so that they can sit on that, which I like. So we've got these special covers, which I will get into in a minute. But we've got this print, which I think is absolutely stunning. That is a beautiful, beautiful print. You can carefully move that aside. So that is very, very decent. I do like that. So I'm going to start with the pink book first. Carefully just moving the return out of the way so I don't lock it. So we've got this beautiful cover, and I think that's what made me want to buy them. The special covers on there. They're very, very nicely done by Mac. I can't remember Mac's full name, but they were clearly done. And then on the back, the original Pink Ranger returns. And this gives synthesis. This gives all the detail here. So you can see with this here, they are clearly going to release this as a standard at some point, if not already. I can see that's easily done there. I've got to say, I feel like the quality is not perfect here, or it's been knocked. You know, you can see on there, I've got a little knock on that corner, which is very annoying considering the amount of money invested in this. In fact, I think, if I remember correctly, I think my wife actually paid for it. Early Christmas present, I guess. I think it was just I didn't have the money at the time, and my wife said, I'll do it for you. So I was like, thank you. And then inside there. Now this book, if I remember rightly, I think had an original hardcover run, introduction by Amy Jo back in 2016. I think it had an original run once before and then became very hard to get after that. Because I remember I was going to get some of the side books as well, because I don't think this has been dropped in any deluxe covers yet. Do you know what? They have so much material that they could easily do that as well. And then at the end, oh, that was the end. You got a cover gallery. They had some really nice covers. I remember when I was buying the individual issues of this, because that's where I mainly collect Power Rangers individual issues or oversized hardbacks. This was probably the hardest one to get. Now it's probably quite easy for you to get those issues as well. But yeah, back then generally it was hard to get. And then probably the reason why I re-brought this was the return, mainly because I thought always I like that. That's pretty cool. Because generally I thought, hey, this is gonna be a rarity, but it's not a rarity. And you know, you can read this quite easily as well. I also got they also send you PDFs off this, so I don't actually have to keep the book. I've got it electronically, so which I think is very nice. Some people would have brought these to sell them on. And yeah, it's straight in there. No sort of written thing in there. I suspect there would have been tiers where you could get Amy Jo to sign. I met Amy Jo earlier this year at a Comic-Con, so I was generally quite happy. I generally actually liked the story. A lot of people said it was a bit weak, maybe a little bit predictable, but you know what? I actually thought they did a good job, and they left it on a little cliffhanger to give us a little bit more. There we go. That's the to be continued. Then we got the cover art. So there was lots of beautiful. I've actually just ordered this. I got this for a killer price. I'm well chuffed, because when that first came out, that was damn hard to get. So and that was probably the only real cover that I wanted. I didn't really get. I mean, I'm trying to variants are a big thing for me with Power Rangers. I have no control when it comes to variant covers. I probably spend a little bit too much. I'm trying to cut down, especially with Power Rangers Prime now. I feel like I can cut down and not spend ridiculous amount of money. It would have to be a really worthwhile cover for me to do it. And in fact, I'm generally just looking at some old covers these days to just to complete off what I wanted to collect. I like this bit as well. It's very nice. Oh, we've got an afterword from Amy Jo Johnson. That is very, very nice afterword. I like that. That is very cool. Because I felt very, very disappointed when I was looking at it. I was thinking there was no foreword. I thought there would have been that. I mean, the Pink Ranger one, I think it already happened back in 2016. So, but yeah, this is great. I mean, you got little things here which aren't needed. This has been a special buy unless they've contributed financially to get themselves on there as a credible quota. I would not have, what's the word, looked at that very, you know, I don't understand it, because this has been a special buy. This isn't needed in my mind. But unless they've invested to get their names on there to, you know, show, hey, we're here, man. Come read our reviews or whatever and our views on these things. But yeah, very, very nice book. Yeah, so generally, some of these Kickstarters, like I said, you've got to be careful, especially with Boom Studios, because they generally do the Kickstarters. I think it's to grab appetite to see who would be interested. They make lots of money on that, and then they seem to disrespect those people that have invested in those sets and go and release general sets off that. And like I said, I mean, I could be wrong. I'm surprised there's not a hardback off the return, or even a Pink Ranger, because I think there's still an appetite for that book in my mind. I could be completely wrong, but as far as I'm concerned, in terms of this Kickstarter right here, I am generally happy. This was the set that I wanted. You know, the additional bonus off this, I think this was an additional bonus. This was additional bonus. I think this was additional bonus. I don't think these were generally part of it. They were released when they reached certain goals or certain tiers or certain amount of money invested, whatever you want to call it. So that makes me happy, because to me, those bits are exclusives and hard to come by. So generally, very happy with this set as a whole. I'm generally happy with what I feel I've invested in this. I guess I will weigh up, do I keep them long term or do I let them go? Because generally, like I said, I generally keep deluxe books of Power Rangers. These little individual hardbacks perhaps aren't gonna quite cut it in my mind. In fact, before I finish up, I will show one of those deluxe books next to this as well, so you can see a difference in size as well. Yeah, so this is probably my biggest, I guess, issue with it. I don't think I would actually mind if they started releasing smaller hard books like this, if they all had the same font, etc. on the side. I think that would be quite good. But you can see next to the deluxe book, this does not even perhaps fit into your collection. You can't even make it sort of work. So big difference in terms of size. So, you know, it is what it is, to be honest with you. I knew what I was getting when I get this, but it would have been nice. I don't know why they just didn't deliver one bigger book with both these in there. Maybe that would have worked better. Maybe I'm just being picky because I can be, I guess, on how my collection looks. So it's going to be very hard for me to justify if these stay in my collection, or if I sweep them along and hope that a deluxe book happens at some point. I include these two wonderful stories in them. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate you subscribing. Thank you to everybody that's subscribed already. Make sure you look after yourself. For those, it's Christmas Eve right now as I'm recording this, so I want to wish everybody who celebrates it a very Merry Christmas. Make sure you look after yourself, very important these days. And as always, embrace geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.